Just imagine what it was like to be a man like David, who was literally just kind of being propelled into a position of leadership and authority. Whether or not he ever thought that this would ever be a part of his life, we don't really know. All we know is that he had been anointed to be the king of Israel, was not yet in that position, but he was a part of the army. And it was funny to me when the word came concerning David, when they were talking about needing a harp player to play for harp. And they said, well, he's skillful and he's cunning with the harp, and he's a great man of war. And he'd never even been to battle at that time. But yet the prophetic word had gone forth, and it proved to be true, that he became a great man of war, but also a person who could command authority, to where people would be willing to submit themselves to his words above other words coming from a bunch of men who were strong and were warring men. They chose to follow the shepherd boy. And I find that to be fascinating. But again, it goes back to the ability to influence people. Well, for David, these were his mighty men. And it's an interesting lot when you begin to read about them. These are people who had learned how to plunder and how to just go forth with their swords and bring much destruction. But yet, they chose to follow David. Well, why would that be? Well, I think it probably had a lot to do with the anointing of God that was upon him. And we have words that talk about how that David would be in contact with God through thick and thin. And as his men were also very loyal, who would follow him through almost any circumstance. That's a strange but yet powerful relationship that you don't often find. People that bound together, that connected over the common good of caring for the people that you love, your nation, and then in the sense of the army, people who were under your command, that you actually cared about these people and you wanted their best, you wanted the welfare for them. Well, see, that's all a part of the leader that David was. He was a man who loved his men. He loved these mighty men, and they loved him. And here, these two that broke through the ranks to go over to Philistia, who had occupied Bethlehem at that time, and saying, we need water from this well to take to our leader. And they did it. They did it. And God spared their lives while they were doing it. But I believe it had to make David realize the importance of his actions in the midst of understanding that your leadership skills has caught someone's attention. And now they want to be like you. Well, that's influence. That's influence. And that's why it's so important that we take care of our influence, that we influence people for the positive and not the negative. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.